Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something that I know can be a little bit confusing, especially if you're, new to expanding your business globally.
Yeah, it can definitely feel overwhelming.
Exactly. I mean, you start reading up on it and suddenly you're hit with all these acronyms like PEO, GEO, EOR.
A whole alphabet soup of global expansion jargon. It's like, where do you even begin to untangle it all?
Right. So that's what we're here for today, to break it all down, make it easy to understand, and hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll feel a lot more confident about navigating this whole global expansion thing.
Absolutely. We're going to cut through the noise and focus on what really matters, especially for businesses that are just starting to think about going global.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly are these things, PEOs, GEOs, and EORs, and how are they different from each other?
Okay, so a PEO, that stands for a Professional Employment Organization. It's basically like imagine having an HR department that works across borders.
Oh, that makes sense. So instead of having to set up your own legal entity in another country.
Exactly. You can partner with a PEO and they'll handle all the tricky stuff for you. Things like, hiring employees, running payroll, making sure you're compliant with local labor laws, all those HR headaches.
So it's like outsourcing your international HR, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be a huge time and money saver, especially for smaller businesses that don't have the resources to set up their own foreign subsidiaries.
Okay, got it. That makes a lot of sense. So then what about EORs? How are they different from PEOs?
So an EOR, that's an employer of record. They basically take on the legal responsibility of employing your staff in another country.
Just more about the legal side of things.
Yeah. Contracts, payroll, taxes, all that stuff. They become the official employer on paper, so you don't have to worry about the complexities of local employment regulations.
Okay, so it sounds like PEOs and EORs are kind of similar, but with different focuses.
Exactly. Think of it like this. An EOR is laser focused on the legal aspects of employment, making sure everything is above board. A PEO often provides those EOR services, but usually they also offer a broader range of HR support.
Got it. So it's not just about who's legally responsible for the employees, but also about the level of HR support you need.
Precisely. Now, when you throw GEOs into the mix, it can get a little more, confusing.
Right. Because a global employment organization, that sounds a lot like a PEO, right?
It does. And honestly, there is a lot of overlap. GEOs often act as the employer of record, and they typically provide a wide range of HR services, just like a PEO. Some people say the difference is mostly just marketing.
So it's not so much about the specific label, but more about understanding what services each provider actually offers.
Exactly. Don't get hung up on the jargon. Focus on finding a provider whose services align with what you actually need for your business.
Okay, that's a really good point. So let's say I'm convinced. I'm like, all right, I need some help with this global expansion thing. Why would I choose to go with a PEO, a GEO, or an EOR? What's the big, selling point?
Well, for starters, it can save you a ton of time and money. Like we talked about, setting up your own entity in a new country can be a really long and expensive process. But with a PEO, GEO, or EOR, you can bypass all of that.
So it's all about speed and efficiency.
Absolutely. It's like a shortcut to getting your business up and running in a new market. But it's not just about speed. It also significantly reduces your risk.
Oh, how so?
Well, think about it. These providers are experts in local labor laws and regulations. They know all the ins and outs, so they can help you avoid costly mistakes.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine the compliance stuff can get pretty complicated, especially in countries you're not familiar with.
Exactly. And that peace of mind alone can be priceless, right? Knowing that you're not going to run into any legal trouble down the line.
Absolutely. So it's less risk, less hassle, and you can get up and running faster. It sounds like a pretty good deal so far.
It is. And on top of all that, you also get access to local expertise. These providers know the market, they know the culture, they have connections.
So it's like having a local partner on the ground guiding you every step of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be invaluable, especially when you're navigating a new and unfamiliar business environment.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal here. But with all these benefits, there must be some things to watch out for, right? Like, how do you choose the right provider? What are some red flags to look out for?
You're right. Choosing the right partner is crucial, and reputation is definitely at the top of the list.
Yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't just trust anyone with something this important.
Exactly. You want a provider with a solid track record, one that's been around for a while and has proven experience in helping businesses expand globally.
So experience is key. What else should we be looking for?
Communication. You need a provider that's responsive, quick to answer your questions, and able to address any concerns you have. And of course, you need to do your due diligence.
Right. You don't want to just jump in blindly.
Exactly. Check their credentials, look for references, make sure they're a legitimate operation. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions and really get a feel for whether they're the right fit for your business.
Okay, so reputation, communication, and due diligence. Those are some good things to keep in mind. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the specific services that these providers offer, because I'm guessing it goes way beyond just like basic payroll and contracts.
Oh, absolutely. It can be really comprehensive. Think of it as a one-stop shop for all your international HR needs.
Okay, so like what kind of things are we talking about here?
Well, it can include everything from recruitment and onboarding to benefits administration, training and development, even things like managing employee relations and handling terminations.
Wow, that's a pretty wide range of services.
Yeah, it can be really extensive depending on the provider and your specific needs. It's all about finding the right package that covers everything your business needs to succeed globally.
Got it. So it's really about taking the hassle out of global expansion, giving you the support you need to focus on what you do best.
Exactly. And that's why these services are becoming so popular, especially for businesses that are new to the global market.
It makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, who wouldn't want to make their lives easier, right?
All right, now let's talk about a specific company that's been making waves in this space, INS Global. They seem to be popping up everywhere these days.
They are, and for good reason. They've been around for a while, since 2006, and they have a really impressive track record of helping businesses expand globally.
So they've got the experience. What else makes them stand out?
Well, they offer a really wide range of services covering everything from EOR and PEO to recruitment, payroll, tax compliance, and even things like visa and immigration support.
Wow, that's pretty comprehensive. It sounds like they really do cover all the bases. Yeah, they do. And they have a really strong focus on technology, which is super important these days. They use innovative platforms to streamline processes and make everything as efficient as possible.
So it's not just about the services themselves, but also about how those services are delivered.
Exactly. They're all about using technology to make global expansion easier and more accessible for businesses of all sizes.
Okay, that's really cool. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the importance of choosing the right partner. Why is that so crucial in this whole global expansion process?
Because it's a partnership, right? You're entrusting this provider with a really important part of your business.
So it's not just about finding someone who can tick all the boxes on paper, but also about finding someone you can trust and build a strong relationship with.
Absolutely. You need a partner who understands your vision, your goals, and your challenges. Someone who's truly invested in your success and who will be there to support you every step of the way.
That's a great point. And speaking of finding the right partner, we highly recommend checking out INS Global. They're a fantastic resource for businesses looking to expand globally, and they have a team of experts who can guide you through the entire process. So if you're thinking about taking your business to the next level, reach out to them today. You can find all their contact information on their website, eaus-global.com.
Definitely. And don't hesitate to mention that you heard about them on our deep dive.
Absolutely. We're big fans of their work, and we know they can be a valuable asset to any business looking to grow on a global scale.
Couldn't agree more. They're truly leading the way in the global employment space. All right, I think we've covered a lot of ground here today. We've demystified those tricky acronyms, PEOs, GEOs, and EORs, and explored the benefits of partnering with these providers. But the big question remains, how do you actually choose the right partner for your specific needs? That's what we're going to dig into next.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We'll unpack all the key factors you need to consider so you can make an informed decision and find the perfect partner to help you achieve your global ambitions. Stay tuned. So we've talked about the importance of reputation and experience. But what are some other practical things that businesses should be looking for when they're evaluating different PEOs, GEOs, or EORs?
Yeah, so thinking practically, you definitely want to look at their global reach. Do they operate in the specific countries that you're targeting?
Oh, right. Because it wouldn't be very helpful if you're trying to expand into, say, Brazil, and your provider doesn't have any experience there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to make sure they have a strong presence in the markets you're interested in and that they have a deep understanding of the local business landscape.
That makes a lot of sense. What about things like technology and innovation? Are those important factors to consider?
Absolutely. Technology is playing a huge role in the global employment space these days. So you want a provider that's embracing innovation and using technology to make things easier for you.
Like how so?
Well, think about things like online platforms for managing HR tasks, automated payroll systems, and even AI-powered tools for things like candidate screening and onboarding.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about having someone to handle the paperwork. It's about having a partner that's using technology to streamline the entire process.
Exactly. Technology can really help to make global expansion a lot smoother and more efficient.
Okay, so global reach, technology, and of course, reputation and experience. Those are some key things to keep in mind. But let's be real, pricing is always a factor, right?
Of course, it's definitely something to consider, but I would caution against just going for the cheapest option.
Yeah.
Get what you pay for, right?
Right. You don't want to skimp on something as important as this. But how do you strike that balance between, getting a good value and not breaking the bank?
Well, it's important to get quotes from multiple providers and compare what they offer, not just the price tag, but the scope of services, the level of support, their technology. You need to weigh all those factors.
So it's about finding the right value, not just the lowest price.
Precisely. You want to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck and that the provider you choose is truly a partner in your success.
Okay, that's really helpful advice. So let's say you've done your research, you've evaluated your options, and you're ready to choose a provider. What are some tips for making that final decision and kicking off the partnership?
Yeah, so once you've narrowed it down to a few finalists, I always recommend having a conversation with each of them. A real in-depth discussion about your specific needs and goals. Ask lots of questions, get a feel for their communication style, and make sure you're comfortable with their approach.
Yeah, it's like any relationship, right? Communication is key.
Exactly. And once you've chosen a provider, be clear about your expectations and make sure everyone's on the same page from the start.
Right. Setting those expectations early on can definitely help to avoid any miscommunications or surprises down the road.
Absolutely. And then once the partnership is up and running, stay engaged, stay informed, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
So communication and collaboration are really key throughout the entire process, not just in the beginning.
Exactly. It's all about building a strong and trusting relationship with your provider so that you can work together to achieve your global expansion goals.
I love that. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of really practical advice here today. But before we move on, I want to circle back to INS Global for a minute. They seem to be a really great option for businesses looking for a PEO, GEO, or EOR partner.
They are. They're definitely one of the leading providers in the space, and they offer a really comprehensive suite of services.
And we've heard great things about their commitment to customer service and their innovative use of technology.
Absolutely. They're constantly pushing the boundaries and looking for ways to make global expansion easier and more efficient for their clients.
So if you're listening to this and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the whole global expansion thing, I highly recommend checking out INS Global. They can be a fantastic resource and guide as you navigate this exciting but complex journey.
I completely agree. They have a team of experts who are passionate about helping businesses succeed globally.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked about the benefits of using a PEO, GEO, or EOR. We've talked about how to choose the right provider, and we've highlighted INS Global as a great option to consider. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Why should businesses even bother with global expansion in the first place? What's the big payoff?
That's a great question. And the answer is pretty simple. Global expansion can unlock a whole world of opportunities for businesses.
Like what kind of opportunities?
Well, for starters, it can dramatically increase your market reach. You're no longer limited to your local customer base.
So you can tap into new markets and reach a whole new audience of potential customers.
Exactly. And that can lead to significant revenue growth.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Well, it can also help you to diversify your revenue streams. If you're only operating in one market, you're vulnerable to economic downturns or changes in that market. But by expanding globally, you're spreading out your risks and creating a more stable foundation for your business.
Right, it's like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And on top of all that, global expansion can also help you to attract and retain top talent.
Oh, how so?
Well, by offering opportunities to work in different countries and cultures, you're making your company more attractive to talented individuals from all over the world. And that can give you a competitive edge in the talent market.
So it's not just about expanding your customer base, it's about expanding your talent pool as well.
Precisely. Global expansion can really open up a whole world of possibilities for your business, both in terms of growth and talent acquisition.
Okay, that's really exciting. It sounds like there are some pretty compelling reasons to consider going global, but I know a lot of businesses, especially smaller ones, can feel intimidated by the whole process. What advice would you give to businesses that are, curious about global expansion but not sure where to start?
I would say don't be afraid to take that first step. It might seem daunting at first, but it doesn't have to be. Start by doing your research, exploring your options, and talking to experts. There are so many resources available to help you.
That's great advice. And speaking of resources, INS Global is a fantastic place to start. They can provide you with the guidance and support you need to make your global expansion dreams a reality.
Absolutely. They have a team of experts who are passionate about helping businesses succeed on a global scale, and they can tailor their services to meet your specific needs.
Awesome. Okay, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. We've explored the many benefits of global expansion, the key considerations for choosing a PEO, GEO, or EOR partner, and we've highlighted INS Global as a great option to consider. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. What does the future of global employment look like?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's one that's constantly evolving. But I think it's safe to say that the world of work is becoming increasingly globalized.
So we're going to see more and more businesses expanding across borders.
Absolutely. And that means that the demand for PEOs, GEOs, and EORs is only going to continue to grow.
So it's a really exciting time to be in this space. And for businesses that are ready to embrace the opportunities of global expansion, the future is bright.
I couldn't agree more. It's a time of incredible growth and innovation, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for businesses that are willing to think big and go global.
So as we look ahead, what are some of the big trends that you're seeing in the global employment landscape?
Well, one of the biggest trends is the rise of remote work.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely been a game changer in recent years.
It has. And it's only going to become more prevalent in the future. With technology making it easier than ever to connect and collaborate from anywhere in the world, businesses are realizing that they don't necessarily need to have all their employees in the same physical location.
So that means that businesses can tap into talent from all over the world, regardless of where they're physically located.
Exactly. And that's creating a much more diverse and globalized workforce.
That's really exciting. What are some other trends that you're seeing?
Another big trend is the increasing focus on employee experience.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, businesses are realizing that in order to attract and retain top talent, they need to create a positive and engaging employee experience.
So it's not just about offering a competitive salary and benefits package anymore. It's about creating a workplace culture that people want to be a part of.
Exactly. And that's especially important in a globalized workforce where employees may come from different cultures and have different expectations.
Right. It's about creating an inclusive and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and respected.
Precisely. And that's something that PEOs, GEOs, and EORs can really help with. They have the expertise and resources to help businesses create a global employee experience that's both positive and productive.
That's awesome. Okay, so it sounds like the future of global employment is all about embracing remote work, focusing on employee experience, and partnering with experts like PEOs, GEOs, and EORs to navigate the complexities of a globalized workforce.
Absolutely. It's a really exciting time to be in this space, and I'm really optimistic about what the future holds for businesses that are willing to embrace the opportunities of a globalized world.
I am too. It's
Yeah.
a time of incredible growth and innovation, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
All right, that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this exploration of PEOs, GEOs, and EORs informative and inspiring. It's been a pleasure being here.
And remember, if you're thinking about taking your business to the next level and expanding globally, don't go it alone. Reach out to the experts at INS Global. They can help you navigate the complexities of international expansion and unlock a world of opportunities for your business.
Absolutely. They're a fantastic resource and a great partner to have by your side on this exciting journey.
All right, that's all for today, folks. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep chasing those global ambitions.